Hey there everyone, I just got back from seeing the new 2018 Halloween, the newest sequel reboot. Forget all those other sequels existed. I'm going to do this video just a little different because I just got back and I wanted to share some of my initial thoughts on it since it's still fresh on my mind. But Halloween 2018, even though it's named after Halloween 1978, this is a reboot done right. Forget every other sequel that has happened since the original Halloween. Well, except maybe Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. I have a soft spot for that one just because of its sheer goofiness. Tiny spoiler, there's a reference in the new one, and I am thrilled when I saw it. The new Halloween is awesome. I can say this without exaggeration, but it is one of the best films I have seen this year. After years of suffering through incredibly god-awful sequels to Halloween, after years of Curses of Thorns and Busta Rhymes and reboots and everything that they've done, they wiped the slate clean. Halloween 1, well, they're both named the same thing. Halloween 1978 exists and it's part of this world. Everything else past it has been wiped clean. Halloween 2018 is the now new sequel, Halloween 2, whatever you want to call it. In any case, they can leave all the other Halloween sequels in the garbage, except for Halloween 3. I won't get into a lot of plot details about it just because I don't want to spoil it. It picks up 40 years later. Laurie Strode has been living in fear, waiting for the return of Michael Myers. Everything comes down to Michael's eventual escape, getting his mask back, coming back to Haddonfield, and picking up where he left off. As far as slashers go, this one focuses not so much on gore, although it does have some very bloody moments in it. This one focuses on fear. This is perhaps one of the most intense Halloween movies I have seen in a long time. Not because it's so over the top, it's just that they really savor the atmosphere of where is Michael going to jump out. There's a lot of still moments, and you could actually feel the audience in the theater I was at. Like, everybody stopped talking. Someone brought a baby to the movie theater. Why would you bring a baby to an R-rated slasher film? But someone did, and even the baby got quiet. So that was kind of amazing too. I found this film very logical, very smart. It was entertaining. It was well written. Nothing was over the top goofy. There were no stupid kills. Michael's kills were brutal, and they were there to simply make a statement. I don't necessarily mean like it was like an elaborate scheme, one thing led to another killing. No, he just walks up and just guts somebody, or he'll stab someone in the back, and it's not even like intestines pouring out or anything like that. It's just a simple knife stab, and Michael's done. On to the next victim. Although there's a couple of really nasty kills that he pulls off during this one too. There are a lot of throwbacks to the original Halloween. Again, all the other movies are basically forgotten except for a few fun callbacks and cameos. Do they address what's been happening since the original Halloween? Yes. Do they address the sibling issue between Michael and Laurie? Yes. I won't say anything more about that, but I was satisfied with everything that they did. They really did a lot of callbacks to the original Halloween, but it wasn't like a complete retread. It didn't feel like they were doing the same thing. They did some definite twists of things, like things that happened in the original Halloween. They were now opposite each other, and it was a really cool story effect, and I had a lot of fun with it. Jamie Lee Curtis was awesome in it. I loved everything she did in this. She really played just someone who is broken and messed up after this serial killer had basically ruined her life and killed all her friends. Was she over the top? Yes. Was she waiting for this moment? Oh, absolutely. As you've seen from the trailers, she is armed to the teeth in this one. And some things go well, other things do not go well. And as much as I'd love to spoil it, I really feel like I'd be doing you a disservice if I told you all the plot points. It feels like an old horror film. It feels like... I was watching some more recent horror films, and there's always that new, kind of that glossy, clean, over the top, a lot of CG blood. This didn't have any of that. It kind of felt dirty and lived in the sense like, think of like how Halloween 1978 was. It felt realistic enough. You know, it was just a slice of life sort of thing. It didn't feel like everything was perfect, but it was a nice enough neighborhood. The neighborhood had obviously moved on since Michael's killing spree 40 years prior. If there was any CG, they were masterful in hiding it, but I don't believe that there was. Again, just a lot of nice callbacks, and they just did some really, really awesome things in this. I wish I could talk more about the story. I was genuinely very impressed by it, and I'm very hard to satisfy when it comes to like finding a really good horror film that I enjoy. If they want to get rid of all the other sequels to Halloween, I'm totally fine. If they never make another Halloween, I'd actually be fine with that too. I figure this movie's going to make a killing, and there's going to be some studio executive that said, let's make more sequels. And all the stuff that this movie did right and all the stuff that this movie corrected, I think if they made sequels, it would mess up all that goodwill and all the work that these people did to right this ship and actually make Michael Myers a menacing threat again. Because Michael was menacing. You didn't have Busta Rhymes cussing out Michael Myers in this. You didn't have just a bunch of over-the-top nonsense. You didn't have stupid plot points or psychic telepathic links or anything. Michael is just a killer. Is he supernatural? That's open to debate. He's certainly very resilient. He is certainly very hard to put down. This very much feels like the Michael Myers of the 1978 movie. He's just a mean, blank slate killing machine. And there were a couple plot twists that I when they first started, I was like, okay, well, I guess that's interesting. And I was curious to see what they'd do with it. But that was kind of a lot of the things about the story was, it's like, okay, I think this is going to happen. No, it didn't. Here's what happens. After years of crapping on Halloween sequels, I'm just, again, stunned that I think this is honestly one of the best movies I've seen this year. I would make an absolute point to go see this movie in the theaters. It was awesome. I loved the crowd reaction. You know how movie theaters are. It's the same old thing. You walk in, everyone's staring at their cell phones. Again, I mentioned we had the baby crying. The theater was silent towards the climax because... actually, let me backtrack. The movie was silent when it needed to be, and the soundtrack that they chose for it, of course they had the traditional Halloween theme, but even the music had that synth sound that a lot of 70s and 80s movies had, and it just really fit well. The music really helped build up the tension. That was always one of the things that they talked about in the original Halloween, is a lot of people didn't really buy into it until John Carpenter made that soundtrack. The soundtrack makes it. The tension makes it. The silence makes it. The quick, brutal, final attacks of Michael Myers makes it. And then even all the little subversions of things that were done in the original film, they just work. This is the film that you always wanted, and it took 40 years for them to make. Would I recommend going to see Halloween? Absolutely. I was greatly impressed. I feel like we're in the renaissance of horror films again after Get Out and A Quiet Place and a lot of promising things. I even like things like Veronica and The Void recently. Hollywood's making some amazing horror films right now. It's not stupid, it's not base, it's these characters. I made a mention in one of my other videos that, you know, they have these victims that you don't care anything about and they're not interesting. They actually go out and make all the victims interesting in their own way, and they flesh them out to be real people. And there were a lot of sympathetic moans in the audience, you know, whenever certain people got killed. Even some of the ones that were a little not perfect, there was still an audience reaction that you could tell people felt sorry for these characters. Again, I'm just... wow, I honestly cannot believe that this movie was as good as it was, and now I'm contemplating seeing it again because... one word of advice, though. Before you go see it, watch the original Halloween. And the reason I say that is because you might forget certain plot points, or just... even if you know that movie by heart, just seeing it and having it fresh in your mind when you walk into the movie theater, you really see how nicely this book ends. Anyway, go check it out. Definitely watch Halloween 1978 before you go see Halloween 2018. It's a great film. Let me know in the comments how your audience was. If you have babies crying, maybe you'll luck out just as much as I did and they stopped crying. But wow, I was definitely very excited for this film. Anyway, hope you have a happy Halloween yourself, and I will talk to you that next time. Take care.